these are the people that I met, and then you go to do stories when we have storm fronts coming in, that sort of thing. And that is how I got to know React. But I think that is perhaps just my very small view of what the organization does. Perhaps you all can elaborate on the work of React.
Yes, good morning. I can talk about React in Trinidad and Tobago, and I guess Frank can talk about React International. React in Trinidad and Tobago was established in 1964. And over those 37 or so odd years, we have been serving the community mainly in terms of disaster preparedness as well as community service. You're quite correct in that we have in fact done elections for television stations and so on in terms of providing communications to take election results from all parts of Trinidad and Tobago back to the television station. And that is simply because we have the communication mechanism as well as the expertise to be able to relay information. And that's what we do best, really, communications. As a matter of fact, although we are a disaster preparedness organization, you would appreciate that that sort of a thing doesn't happen every day, or at least we hope not. So we keep our membership pretty active in terms of activities, doing sports events, events like marathons, events at the sports stadium. We do road races, election coverage, carnival with the NCC, and all sorts of events to keep ourselves active.
When you think of React, you think of, well, what some people might consider outmoded equipment, CB radios. But although I noticed you have a website there, but is that changing? Are you changing with the technology?
Well, we like to term it in terms of appropriate technology. Yes, nowadays you have cellular telephones. If someone shuts down on the highway, most likely they'll have a cellular phone that they can make a call and get assistance. CB is not really out of date in that respect. It can still assist some motorists, but doesn't yet have that capability. But we like to think of ourselves in terms of providing backup service. For example, in times of a hurricane, you probably will not have cellular communications available. Either the antenna structure will go down, or probably the amount of traffic in times of an emergency. You appreciate what happens around Christmas time. Sometimes also it gets busy. Even during normal operations, sometimes cellular service can go down. So we're prepared in the event that those primary forms of communication goes down. We're able to assist the regional corporations to get information from the far-flung areas of Trinidad and Tobago back to the central area, where they can now locate or provide assistance to those in need.
Well, let's talk with Mr. Jennings. Perhaps he can give us the international perspective on the work of React.
Well, international perspective was that React started in 1962 by a gentleman who worked for Holocrafter Radios in Chicago, and he came upon a lady and a baby stranded on a freeway in the snow. And he used the CB radio to get help to that lady and get her taken care of. And he got to thinking, boy, this is something that we should really try to do. So we can help a lot of people in a lot of ways. So consequently, he started REACT, Radio Emergency Associated Communications Teams. And REACT consists of teams, and then those teams form councils within states or regions or areas, and then the teams, of course, have the members. And REACT is the membership. They are members that volunteer to do just exactly what Robby has already told you. CB, yes, CB, when we had our earthquake not too long ago up in Seattle, Washington, where I'm from, or that area, you'd be surprised the number of people that come on the CB radios and want to know what's going on. And we have gone from CB to General Mobile Radio Service, which we have in the United States, which is a UHF 400 frequency type communications. Very good, clear communications compared to CB. And then, of course, the amateurs are also getting into the picture. And in fact, just recently, REACT International signed a mutual operation paper with ARRL, American Radio Relay League, where we strive to work together to provide emergency communications of all types. And again, all over, whether it be in Canada, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Puerto Rico, or here in Trinidad, we all strive to do basically the same thing. And we're very proud of the organization. We've been able to maintain our status quo as far as membership goes the last couple of years. For many years we were falling off because of the very reason that CB, quote unquote, was no longer any good, so to speak. But by bringing in the other organizations or the other types of communications, we're starting to grow again.
So what is the membership like in Trinidad and Tobago?
We have in excess of 150 members at the moment. Matter of fact, with the renewed interest in terms of our international convention that we're hosting between the 25th and 28th of July, we have actually seen old REACT members come back into the forum. Imagine volunteerism, it's a pretty difficult field to get involved in. It takes a lot of your time. So we expect to see an increased membership after the convention.
Of course, there's that pesky downside of volunteerism is that you don't get paid.
Well, the service is free of charge. We're a voluntary organization. We depend on sponsors and the corporate citizens to give us assistance. We do have membership dues, and that goes some way. But just to mention, Paolo, as Frank was talking about equipment, we have also invested in VHF radio communications for REACT in Trinidad and Tobago. So we have that capability with a repeater that's actually currently housed on TV6's tower. Thanks again to the folks at TCN for this. So we do have additional capability beyond the CB radio.
Well, maybe you should give me a sense of what are some of the issues that will be dealt with at this conference.
Well, I'd rather say that over to Frank.
Convention to the host team. But my understanding, there is going to be training on amateur radio. Is going to be giving a presentation, and there's training on the monitoring and the proper monitoring and things of those nature. But it's basically left up to the Trinidad, and actually, Robby, you've got the
I have the program here, but basically a convention, what that is for people of similar interests to get together and share a lot of information. For example, there are REACT teams throughout the world, and we are coming together to basically share information on the similar problems that we may have in terms of providing the service, the type of service, which is really a voluntary communications two-way radio type service.
So what are some of the problems? What are some of the challenges?
Well, first of all, funding. That is one of the areas that we continuously have to work on. As a matter of fact, we have had some difficulty in acquiring sponsorship for hosting of this convention, but we have had a couple of corporate sponsors coming forward. So sharing information as to how you can generate funds, that is certainly one. The other area is certainly prime and quarters, which is that of disaster preparedness. How do you deal with disasters? How do you respond? How do you project manage a disaster? How do you mitigate? And the whole question of maybe it is in the U.S. they will have tornadoes and probably high winds, as Frank was telling me a little earlier. Maybe in Trinidad and Tobago we may have the potential for earthquakes, possibly hurricanes and so on. So we share information in terms of how we can deal. So it's really a bit of training exercise. In addition to that, there are meetings, opportunities that REACT gets internationally to have as many members together in one place at one time, so that decisions for the organization can be taken.
Now, this equipment might not appear to be expensive because it's fairly, I suppose, it's fairly ordinary equipment. I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, but is this expensive, the equipment?
Well, first of all, the citizen band radio equipment, which I'm assuming you're talking about, there's an issue there in that in Trinidad and Tobago, citizen band radio equipment is not yet licensed. I should say licenses are not yet available. It depends on who you talk to. You can say the equipment is cheap or expensive. It costs money to purchase as well as maintain over time. The VHF equipment is a little more expensive in that we do in fact have a license for it to operate, and the equipment itself is relatively expensive to acquire, but maintenance, for example, batteries, and so on, we need to replenish that, and that's where really our funding is required.
Just to go back on to what you'd said about disaster management, that sort of thing, and I'm thinking to myself, it's one thing to know about the equipment that you use, but to know about the actual the disaster to know, you have to have a certain amount of technical expertise, particularly in the case of a hurricane. If you're trying to relay information, you have to be sure that you relay the correct information. Yes. So that, of course, is a challenge as well.
Okay, well, our prime focus is on that of communication. So basically, we'll take a message from one person and send it to another person, and that is usually from a person who has a problem to possibly the problem solver. That's what we really, our expertise is, in fact. Our membership do in fact have other skill sets that can supplement this whole communication aspect of it, but our prime focus, Paulo, is on providing reliable two-way radio communication.
Yeah. That's very true. And the thing about, like Robby was mentioned there, we have training like Storm Watch, Neighborhood Watch. In fact, REACT, back in the 70s, wrote the Neighborhood Watch program for the government, the United States government. And then that has gone all over the United States. And Robby tells me you have Neighborhood Watch or something similar to that down here now in Trinidad. So those are the types of things that money, we get no grants. REACT International gets no grants. We operate entirely at this point in time on nothing but our membership dues and our team dues. We try to keep it as low as possible. We've only got one employee, and consequently, we operate on a shoestring budget. When we did write the Neighborhood Watch program, we did get a grant from the United States government to do that. But we have training, earthquake training, training for fires. But it's basically where we organize, like I said, the REACT International, then we have these councils in these regions or states, like Trinidad has a council, and then the teams fall under those. And the council has meetings once, twice, 4 times a year, depending upon what their bylaws state. And they do the training right there at the team level. And then teams take that back to their individuals and their new members and train them that way. And that's the training tree that we use in REACT.
Okay, gentlemen, we have to take a short break. When we come back, we will give our viewers some information, website, phone numbers, that kind of thing. If you wish to get information, we'll put that up on the screen for you. And, of course, we'll continue chatting a bit more. For example, if someone out there is interested in joining REACT, what are the criteria? So we'll tackle that when we come back. Stay with us. Talking with 2 representatives of REACT. Gentlemen, one thing I needed to talk about, the special language associated with the CB radios and the new forms of technology. I know that, from what I've seen on television, I know that people have their own call signs, as you just referred to, that sort of thing. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, we like to say, especially in terms of emergencies, to use plain English in terms of the special language you're talking about. Everyone basically understands plain English. You're not sure that the person that you're asking for help will understand the lingo. But yes, there is lingo, as in every other area. Important is the call sign. You must know who you're speaking with, and you must identify yourself as well as the other person. That is a standard operating practice. On the CB radio, people tend to have handles or call signs. For example, in the day I called myself King 1. That was my call sign, and everyone will choose a call sign appropriate to their need. On the VHF radio, however, you are a little more disciplined in that you have a call sign. So REACT will be 997RE with a number, and you must identify yourself periodically, and that's very strict.
All right, now let's give some information out there. The number that we have, and we're going to put that up on the screen for you, as well as at the end of the program. The phone number is 682-2212, and we're going to give you the website on the screen just now. I'll just give you that number again, 682-2212. Now, this convention is at 1:30 p.m. Let's get the details. It's at the Emerald Plaza.
Yes, Emerald Plaza, people will remember that as the old Scarlet Ibis Hotel in St. Augustine. That's where our convention is being held between the 25th and 28th of July. It's actually going to be opened by the Honorable Ras Miraj at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the 25th. And we do have quite a bit of international members coming in. I guess we're still waiting on them to come in to register. And we're also asking any past React numbers to contact us. If you have an interest in attending the convention, the number that you just gave out, certainly give us a call or drop us an email, and we'll get you the details.
Mr. Jennings a short while ago mentioned that there is no grants coming. There are no grants coming to to React International. Is there any support of any sort of government support in Trinidad and Tobago for React?
No, we do not currently receive any grants, as we call it. We are hoping that that can become a reality. We depend primarily on membership dues and soliciting assistance and donations from the corporate citizens. But currently we do not have any grants.
All right, let's just put up that for you so you can get a look at the website. It's http://reacttnt.tripod.com and the email address reacttnt@yahoo.com. There's the phone number there as well, 682-2212. We'll put that up at the end of the program as well. Do you find that people have a misunderstanding of what it is that React does and as such have expectations of React that cannot be fulfilled?
Yes, certainly. Matter of fact, when persons, corporate entities require assistance or organizations, they see us as having a role beyond just communications. And sometimes we do in fact fulfill that role. But we do it based on our capability. But primarily we are a disaster preparedness communications organization. And we need to make that point. That's what our expertise, that's where our expertise lies. But for example, we are asked to do things like traffic control, when we do like Carnival and so on. People expect us to, probably coordinate a program. Sometimes they ask us to project manage, all sorts of expectations. And from time to time, we do in fact assist in those areas.
Have you thought about in cases where you're dealing with corporate entities to ask for a substantial, a generous donation for your services?
Yes, we do in fact ask if an organization is able and so forth to be able to fund us or provide some assistance. For example, CCN I mentioned earlier. We have been getting support from a couple of organizations. Maybe I can mention them for the convention. People like A.S. Bryden, L.J. Williams, Fernandez, Angostura, the MET, Met Wholesale, that's the trade zone, people, BP Amoco, BP Rally, NP and Republic Bank. They have actually come forward to assist us recently, but we certainly need a lot more help, and we thank those who have been coming forward to assist us.
What kind of crowd are you expecting for this conference?
Well, we have catered for in excess of 100 people. We're hoping to get that, or at least more than that, but it's a little early to tell. But, we're catering for them.
All right, well, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you both very much for joining us on the program. Very interesting stuff, and certainly we'll be looking out to see what happens at the convention. Let me just once more put up the graphics so that you can get the information you need. I know often people complain that they don't get the numbers often enough, so let us put that up back up there. There's the website and the email address and the phone number, 682-2212, and that is your cell number?
Yes. And there's another number, Kenny Chandler Singh, who is our chairman. He is at 628-2886. You can contact him here as well.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll take a short break on the morning edition.